So, welcome to another fresh takeover. Um, so today we're doing a subject on age-related dating. So, when you normally have this discussion about, age is just a number. When is age just a number? Is it even important to say age is just a number? You know, um, what age difference? Where should be the bracket? Is it 5 years, 10 years? What is the bracket? And also, what age? Because there was a discussion about someone being 17 dating a 27-year-old, you know. Anyway, I'm not going to go into this debate right now because, it's no point in me having a debate by myself. So we've got a few people waiting in the waiting room, the rest of the fresh takeover crew, which is a bit too hot for me. And they're waiting to get involved in this live process. So I'm just going to put it on pause for a second and then we're going to do it.
Okay.
Record. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll tell you about my experience. Like I'm a 36-year-old, and I was dating. Well, I
Wow.
was at 36 at the time. I was dating a 21-year-old when I was. I was seeing a 21-year-old when I was 34. I say seeing because it wasn't like it was the levels of being like I'm very committed to whoever I'm involved with, whether I'm seeing them or not. So I'm very committed, but it was very it's very weird in a sense that I'd always remember as soon as I remember the age, I remember that's what they are. They're 21. You know, when I was speaking to them, we were having those conversations because I guess we didn't talk about things that deep where, you know, the age of opinionation would be there. You'd just enjoy people's time. And that's what it was. Um, it's after we stopped seeing each other, it made me question a lot of things. If because before I dated the person, I was like, I can't date like that's too young. I can't date, blah blah. And all of a sudden, it's kind of weird to say this. All of a sudden, I was in it. So like I was in, that relationship. But afterwards, it made me question a lot of things. That age does matter to a point, or mindset, or wherever your mind is. Because I know when I was seeing this person, my head wasn't. I was on a journey to find myself on being who I was. I'm a nice guy. I can get along with everybody, but generally I don't really spend that much time one to one with people apart from my kids. So it was like after getting out of that relationship, I was then able to go, okay, that would have never worked out because I want more things for myself, or I want more things for a 21-year-old.
18, I wouldn't want her dating 100% no one older than like, realistically, I'd want someone her own age, but I'll be comfortable with 25 max. And even that might be a bit too much.
Wow.
That's exactly what I think. But that's because it's really young. You haven't had any adult experience then.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But if she was 20, I'd probably say she could date someone that was 30. It's just 18 is still so fresh. But I'd say the older that the woman gets, the more you can allow the age gap to go up.
Yeah.
That's quite sensible, actually. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Well,
I completely agree with that.
Can I ask you a question then, as you brought it up?
Go on.
So when you was younger, what age did you think was appropriate for you to date? And how old gap? What's the gap?
The oldest difference between me and any ex-partners or partners would be like 4 or 5 years, to be honest.
Okay.
But these days it's different because young girls look like women because of makeup, social media, the way they dress, the way their bodies change quicker, and the way we've evolved. They look older. So it's a bit different these days, to be honest. So older men are kind of attracted to them, I find.
I think that older men kind of were anyway. It's just that now
100%.
The influence has just changed. Like when I was a teenager, my limit would have been 3 years older than me, because I was always taught that men are 3 years more developed than you, so that's the age you should be looking at.
But, okay, that's interesting.
But if somebody was interested in me when I was a teenager and they were in their 20s, that was it. Like they were a weirdo.
Yeah, definitely. And also, do you know what I think? The minute you get over 30 is seen as really old these days. So whenever you're speaking to like teenagers and whatnot, and they say oh my God, you're 33, you're so old. I get it all the time. They're like, you're proper old. So yeah. I think it's weird. It's a weird one. But yeah, as I said, as you age, the gap can get bigger and bigger. Like by the time you're 30, if you really wanted to go out with someone that was 60 or 70, go and do it. If that's what you want to do and that's what pleases you. But when you're still growing up and you're a young woman, it's not a good idea. But by 30, I'd say you know what you're about and what you how far you're prepared to go. Especially, a lot of young girls, they also the money thing, isn't it? It's with the successful older man. I don't think many girls in their right mind would go for anyone that's 20, 30 years older than them unless they've got money. I just don't see it. I don't see like real love.
It's the same thing with if they've got, I've found that a lot of young people that date a lot older is because they've got issues with their family and they're looking for like an authoritative person to be with.
Yeah, that's very true as well. Definitely is.
You would say
so what do you think, guys? Anyway, you're very quiet, Kurt. Come on.
Yeah.
So what do you think is appropriate?
I mean, like from my personal experience, when I was on my early 20s, I was attracted to, someone who's 10 years older than me. Apparently, I don't know why, but
okay.
It's like maybe it all depends. Early on, the way Kirk said, it all depends on your mindset and what kind of relationship you're looking to get into. So,
definitely.
So for me, I was like pretty much I grew up, even my young days, I grew up as a mature person, thinking like, 30, 40 years old man when I was only like on my 19 or 20s, so
I hear that.
Yeah, so most of the time, like I just bump to about like either me or them I'm attracted to them like in certain ways. So when they find out when I tell them my age, they'll be like, oh shit, I thought you were like on your late 20 or 30. So
yeah, that makes a massive difference, personality and how they carry themselves.
Yes, so I think even when it comes to when you guys said about financial situation, sometimes I mean, if we're going to go back away to the time where from the age of for the first 7 years of our childhood birth coming to this earth, we've been already conditioned. Like we practice already, like when they're playing in the house when you're kids. You need to have husband, you need to have wife, this and that. It already been programmed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
culture comes into it.
Culture, yeah. Even to have to say, like you said, I agree with you. Like you want your child, if it's especially if it's a girl, you want to date from 25 once she said you're 20 when she's 25. So I'm thinking like that's like they're exposed to everything already. Kind of you think you're in control, but you're really kind of not in a way, But
do you know what? It's the same thing as with love.
Mm-hmm.
It's with love. You can't help. You can't choose sometimes who you fall in love with. Yeah. So I suppose that has a part to play as well.
But money talks these days, isn't it? So what can you do?
100%.
100%. We've got somebody on the call here joined us.
Okay.
Hey, Flower.
Hello.
Hey, sorry I'm late. I was in a church Zoom meeting and it ran right over.
No worries. Okay, I'm gonna let someone else talk because I do talk a lot. So,
The same here. So it went quiet.
Okay,
It's kind of like a tricky subject, but it's deep subject too.
well, I'll talk, and I mean, I've got kids myself, so I'm kind of trying to debate if I'm gonna have that conversation where I bring my perspective on how I feel about the age I'd want my kids to date, because like my daughter tried to add me on Snapchat and she's only 10, and I had to block her. I had to block her. because the thing
My
is,
daughter's
like,
14. She's not allowed Snapchat. If I found out she had Snapchat, I would smash that with a hammer, mate.
but that was her mum. I'm not even around, so I didn't know about that. So like,
Oh,
and
You shouldn't have the smartphone in your hand.
and TikTok as well. Like, but the thing
Yeah,
is,
that's a bit young.
like for me, it's not thinking about how, if she's capable. It's more thinking about, I can't express myself. I don't want her to see certain things that I express. So if I'm on
Exactly.
Snapchat, or if I'm on TikTok, you know, there's so much more that I'd have to explain to her. So like, I block her from that. But anyway, so when I'm hearing the ladies talk and I'm hearing a P talk about like age, it's more the mentality, the mental states of mind on how people date. And it's kind of weird. It's like, I almost want someone that's not as intelligent as you guys to be in a conversation, because then you kind of have an idea on what they see in why they date. You know, like if someone that's hasn't got that much of a life experience might give a different expression of why they date, would date someone older and younger. Because I mean, like, when I was younger, I had younger people wanted to date me and older people wanted to date me, but like that was more on the parents more of than the person I was. So when they started to talk to me, it was completely different. But I said earlier on, I was seeing a 20-year-old person, and years ago, in fact, I'm back at that stage now. I'd put a 4-year gap. There can't be any, you know, it's no 4 years younger or 4 years, you know, older. That is the sort of boundary I like to stay in, because it means that I don't have to be in my P's and Q's about what I express about. And I'm also getting knowledge from the person that I'm having a conversation with. So it's a give and take thing. It's you know, all right, we could all have money, but what are we outside money? You know, like, what, like, if I end up having to spend the rest of my life with you, can I spend the rest of my life with you, sort of thing. So if there's more of if there's like a 5, 6, 7 year gap, then I would never know. If it's 4 years, then I can kind of calculate, maybe, you know, like we could bend or flex together with knowledge of certain conversations or life experience. Dating, like, realistically, as when Jody brought the question to me about 17 dating a 27-year-old, realistically, that should never happen, because it's almost like those people that say, you know, I used to babysit somebody and now I'm married to them. And it's like,
Yeah.
how like, are you
like
basically,
grooming?
yeah.
You shouldn't have things in common with somebody at that age. They can't even go out to a bar and buy their own drink. Like,
Well, you're
as an
teaching
adult,
them.
you shouldn't.
You're teaching them. They don't even have their own little thoughts of minds, because you're teaching them, you know, whatever experience you're giving them, you're teaching them. It's like,
But
Yeah.
hold on to this one here. Like right now, we're talking in the Western culture. Let's take this to Africa. You know, let's take it to the village.
yeah, and
Oh God.
I mean,
it's like it's a whole different scenario. You know what I mean?
it
Like,
is.
Yeah.
in certain country, like for example, in I'm from Ethiopia, Eritrea. So this is back in the day, like in the village. If you're in the village sector, you know, if you grow up there or born there, you have certain age limit, like probably by 12 or 11, you're married. It's set up for you. You know what I mean? So this
That
is
really
like
messes
have
me up.
different. Hey,
That really messes me up. That's horrible.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. You have the culture as well. You have the whole different, So it really, it's a way. It makes it's a bit. I think as a person, it makes them strong, but at the same time, when that person they're not ready for that kind of life as well. It's like
Yeah.
there's a give and take in a way.
No,
But
but
again,
what you're talking about is you're talking about
Mm.
when your choice has been made for you versus making your own choice, which
Yes,
is
Yeah.
and
kind of different, because it's like
yeah.
in the World War One and World War Two, you had over here in England, people would marry
Mm.
young and set up,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's literally for the money, because
Yeah.
that's how you
Exactly.
financially look after the family. Like in India, the same sort of
Mm.
thing. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
people getting married ridiculous age, 8, 9, 10, and
Oh
for
wow.
me,
Okay, I didn't know that goes that deep. That yeah.
for me, I can't
Yeah.
even imagine,
That's
because
Yeah.
messed
Too
up.
much.
It's like they have to do
Yes.
it to have a life. Like they have to be set up that way. A woman has to do a woman's job and a man has to do a man's job, and they know that, so they do it from really young. And it's
Mm.
really messed up, but it is a society thing.
Mm.
It's
It's
go on.
I think it's like, for example, like I'll be open about it. Like my past relationship, this was like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. And well, I'm 31 now, so it was the first time like kind of dating, in this person was like in the 20s, well, early 20s or 19 probably, and that is like we the age was too close in a way, like it was a much big distance, there was much gap to it, so we pretty much, our mindset was like the same, and like me in a way, I was thinking, like as you said, Kurt, like you get in a relationship, you like take it serious, no waste of time. I'm not that kind of person anyway, at least, don't like to, I'm sure probably you are too. So it came to a point where this person was just about like, going out, blah, 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 this, the fast life. And me, I'm the sort of part, like, some of us guys, we're logic. We like to, like we need to set things in advance. We see a step ahead. And the majority of the ladies, they're like, go with the emotion, but you don't follow the logic, where the way we think is whole different thinking system mentality we have. So, but well, anyway, at the end of the day, what I learned, sometimes you have this kind of person, maybe I might be going off the topic, sorry, but sometimes you have a relationship, you get into those situations, and they don't even relationship, they're just situationship. Sometimes it can be, you think you're in a relationship, but you're actually in the situations just not going anywhere. So like what you learn about yourself once you come outside in a relationship, you'll be like, okay, next time I know when not to go to this type of person or age gap, I think. So sometimes not even just about blaming that person, or that my ex did this to me, or this person did that to me. So sometimes you have to step back, like, who was the problem? Was that a problem? Was that, or was she the problem? Or was he the problem? You know what I mean? So it's all about the mindset anyway at the end of the day as well, I think.
I agree with you 100%. It's just like, even this conversation is like making me think on myself, like realistically, like when people date other people, are they ready? Or if do they know they're ready? And like, and I say around about now, as my mindset's a little bit better than it was, but I spend a lot of time by myself, like a lot of time by myself. So like me thinking about a dating scene is not really, I don't really think about one, because it's a bit like having your favorite meal and you're not there to have it. Like you can think about it as much as you like, but experiencing it is a completely different thing. So like when I was seeing the person I was seeing, realistically, I had not been dating for maybe 8 years. So when I dated again, it was like trying to find your feet on it. And then when I went out of it, I kind of found my feet to kind of understand. So it's, I definitely get what you're saying. But it's mindset. In the end of the day, it's mindset. And at the same time, this is why you have friends around you to kind of check you. Like you have your friends, like even though they might take the mickey about certain things, they bring up the
Yeah.
logic to you. You know, like,
Mm.
you know, how comes you never brought her out? How comes blah blah? How comes you don't talk about him? All of these different things
Mm.
here where could be a little niggling, but it's like logic. It gets you have to go away with whatever they're throwing at you and go away and go, you know, maybe they're right. You know, maybe, you know.
Yeah, sometimes it could be blind too. You think you're like you because sometimes you'll be like, oh shit, yeah, that's the one, and you're going all the way down, you invest in everything, then all of a sudden, you know, when the man's not making money, they'll be like, adios, ciao. Like,
Well, we
like,
know
oh, what
we
did
know what you know what you're good at. Like for
yeah,
instance, I know that I'm good at photography, so I don't need to think about photography.
yeah.
I know I'm good at giving certain advice, but
Mm.
you know, I don't give myself advice. I don't give myself a pep talk in the mirror, like, you know, this is how it's gonna go down. You know,
That's a very
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
That is a very, very good point. Because you know what, I'm great at giving advice. Everyone phones me. I'm like an agony aunt, especially with a hairdresser background.
Yeah.
I'm really good at giving advice, but for
Mhm.
myself, I'm not that great at giving my own self advice because I do stupid things that I'd be saying to other people, no, you shouldn't do that. This is the way to do it. But it's funny, we can all be really good at
Mm.
telling others, but ourselves, yeah, I think we need someone real in the family or friends that is just gonna say it how it is. We need that sometimes, even if we
Yeah.
don't want it.
Yeah, but at the
That's
same,
really essential.
yeah, but most of and again, what you like, most people they tell you what they what they want you to hear, basically, you know. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Like so sometimes like we're doing, you know, our creative work, and I'll tell you like you have to be able to take criticism, and I think we are in the kind of like we're coming to a bit of like kind of soft generation, should I say? I don't know, even if that's a word.
Yeah.
Like you tell somebody, they just blow up. Like they don't take criticism. It's for their own growth, you know. So it's hard to tell the person like, oh, this is, you have to kind of say it in a kind of humble way, or like you have to go around it. You cannot tell them directly.
well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it depends on what sort of person you are, because I'm a very, very direct person. Kirk
That's
knows
good.
me. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
honestly, what you
Oh.
see is what you get. And unfortunately, I offend. This is why I have such a small friend circle.
That's
It's
good.
because people are snowflakes, and I can't handle that.
Exactly.
Like, I
Snowflake,
literally
yeah.
have verbal diarrhea. It will fall out of my mouth, and a couple of months later, I'm like, I wonder why Susan at school don't talk to. Oh crap. Lily, do you remember that thing that you said? Oh my God, you said that. That's why she don't talk to you. I'll go through text message. I'll be, there's got to be saying that's what it was. That's what it was, and I've upset people.
Well, I guess 2020 or early 2000, 2021 has taught me is that you have to be willing to have people that check you, like those that will, you know, tell you how it is, and be willing to listen to them as well. Because, you know, I believe if you have one, then you're taking a chance on them giving you the right advice. I think you need to have a handful of people that will check you, and generally check you because they care and they want nothing from you, sort of things.
That's
Like a board meeting.
You've got to trust them as well. So like you've
Yeah.
got to be able to do it back, and you've got to be able to trust these people and just go with like just have open discussions with them. It's hard to find people that you can know that you just have a connection with and you can trust their opinions.
Especially the COVID going on now, like everybody's kind of isolation, so everybody's like very intense. Like what they want from me, like when somebody coach, because they're not used to it, checking up people on them, they'll be like, what's the agenda behind this person? Like wait, that's random call or random text, you know. You get that kind of
Yeah.
you know?
I know, bro. Like there's so many like good vibe stuff I send out, and people go like, "How comes you're always happy?" I'm like, I'm not always happy. I'm just think like sometimes that's what you need, because I know that I might need that back one day. So like you've got to give that energy. But Yeah, I'm not going to go too much
spread
in that. I'll move on to
positivity.
subject.